like, oh, well, we play UTSA or we play Austin P. I don't care. I'm going to tell you right now, you're selfish. You're selfish. You're selfish for wanting to get married in the fall. And there's only one thing that happens to people that get married in the fall on a Saturday. They get divorced.
Yo, before we get into the pod, make sure y'all are liking, subscribing, and then put a comment down what you want to see from the Tennessee Vols going forward. We really appreciate the support on the pod so far. Ladies and gentlemen, Vol fans of all ages, we're back again with another Rocky Top Ramble. Before I introduce my co-host, we got something to say here. We saw the worst, nastiest, dirtiest, most unsportsmanlike thing that ever happened to college football this Saturday in the SEC. I mean, it was just gross. You should never see a fan base do something like this. Ole Miss threw trash all over their field when they didn't agree with a call. It was just disgusting. No other fan base would ever do something like this, and I just cannot believe what my eyes saw on Saturday in that LSU Ole Miss game. I mean, I'm baffled, boys. I am baffled. I can't believe it. It was gross. It was disgusting. They should be fined. They should get their title stripped from the SEC. This should all be gone. I can't believe it. Christian, what you think about that?
If I'm not mistaken, whenever it happened a couple of years ago, there was one team that's been involved now with two of them. And being at that game a couple of years ago, that's where all the trash started flying in the first place, was coming out of the Ole Miss sections. I got hit by a beer can coming right out of the top row. So it fits them pretty well. I mean, I'm not surprised.
Well, that's because Luke was about 3 sections above you.
Yeah, that's probably why. I didn't know that, but, I wish that somebody would have thrown a golf ball at Lane Kiffin again. And I didn't see any mustard on the fields. They did a good job as we did whenever we threw it.
Exactly. It wasn't near up to our standards. Sleep, what do you think about it?
You celebrate a win like that, but you still take the loss by throwing trash on the field. It's disgusting. I mean, it's just pitiful that somebody would ever do that. A fan base, just you got to be classier than that. I don't know. I can't even fathom doing it. Shout out Lane Kiffin for getting a big win though.
Shout out Lane Kiffin. Well, boys, it was a good week this week. Tennessee won. It always makes things better, especially when you get a big SEC win or a little SEC win. But it was a good revenge game. It had a little extra on top of it. I'm just glad that we won the Super Bowl. I've never seen any of my sports teams win a Super Bowl or a championship before, so I'm pumped. I'm absolutely ecstatic that we won the Super Bowl. Everybody make sure if you're going to the Texas A&M game, get there 30 minutes or early for the team to get their Super Bowl rings. I heard it on Twitter, so it must be true. Everybody make sure you get there early. Christian, what'd you think about that statement?
The statement that Spencer Rattler made?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they were trying to do. I think that South Carolina is just really trying hard to be relevant in something because they're not. And
Women's basketball.
Yeah, no, they are very good at that.
Yeah.
But, the South Carolina fan base and the way that they rambled that all week because we were wearing black jerseys, and I guess we have wore black jerseys 3 times against them in the last couple of years. They've tried to hype it up and make it like it's a bigger game that we play, but they're probably number 5 on the list after you go Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And so, it is what it is. We're 4-1 against them in the past 5 years. Um, I think that we completely went even with them in like the last 13 years, like 7-7, or in the last 14 years, like 7-7, or whatever it is in the past 14. And we had some of our worst football teams. One year we went 3-7 with Coach Pruitt, but you know who we got to win against? South Carolina. So, they can make it what they want to be, but whenever the game was over the other night, we were walking out of the stadium last year. Whenever the game was over at their place, they stormed the field. Who didn't mean to? It meant a lot more to them than what it did for the Tennessee fans.
Sure did.
But it was good. It was good to get one back, though.
Yeah. They've kind of got a disappointing season on the horizon here. They still got a couple of big games left to play against Kentucky and Florida, and that's not going to be games they can easily win. That's for sure. And Clemson, I mean, they could find themselves 6-6 easily. That's pretty disappointing considering last year.
I think they've got Missouri left as well.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I really don't know what Missouri has, but they're undefeated right now, so you got to give them credit. They might be different after this week. I think they play LSU this week, but
Right.
they're undefeated as of now.
All right.
I'm just looking forward to Joe Milton being at the Disney World Castle, getting on a float with Mickey Mouse.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I'm just looking forward to that on this bye week that we've got upon us. I mean, they're going to take full advantage of getting to go and meet the princesses, trade pins with the characters, get to ride some roller coasters.
It's going to be great for the team.
It's a great team bonding moment. I mean, you can't get any better than going to Disney World on a bye week.
Right.
They go to the White House.
They might.
I didn't hear.
They might. I don't know. I think that's to be determined. Heupel likes to keep them focused on the task at hand. There's still season left, even though we won the Super Bowl. This may be the first time somebody's won the Super Bowl before the season's over with. I mean, it's quite an accomplishment, honestly. But let's talk about the game a little bit itself. Fellas, I thought that we came out ready to play. We controlled the majority of that game. We ran the ball all over them, played great defense, and that looked like a good football team, a good product that we put out on the field there Saturday. What was y'all's kind of initial thoughts on the game, and just tell me all about it.
Offense started fast, and it continued to go fast. Run game was crazy. I mean that run game was just Dylan Sampson, Jalen Wright, Jabari Small. I mean, all three of them just played really good. Offensive line, Cooper Mays came back, and that was huge for us. I mean, he controlled the line of scrimmage, really just helped dictate the pace of the game. I felt like for the whole game. I mean, yeah, we weren't 100% like you'd like to be, but what team is? I mean, we still looked like a team that's a little banged up. Just got a crucial player back. Had some big plays from Squirrel with that. I think what was it 70-something yard bomb that he caught. Joe played great, used his legs when he had to. Offensive line was great. The fans were great. Kept us, kept South Carolina behind the sticks, and we stayed in front of the sticks. I mean, just all in all, if I had to rate the game on 0 to 10, I'd give us a 7.7. I mean,
so pretty high.
Yeah, I mean,
can get you through college.
Yeah, a 7.7 will get you through college.
Yeah. Well, Christian, me and you were in the stands. You can go ahead and talk about the environment a little bit here.
Yeah, C's get degrees, boys, so I'm all for it. But no, inside the stadium, man, it's just there's no other atmosphere like Neyland at night. I mean, whenever they run out of the tee and you got everything, the fireworks going off, the lights dim down, and here they come. I mean, it makes for a special night, special atmosphere. And I mean, just the way that our defense played on the money downs, third and fourth down. I mean, overall, they were 4 of 19 on third and fourth down, with one of those coming on a fake punt. So they were really if you take away the fake punt, they were 3 of 18
Mm-hmm.
on the money downs, and that kept the crowd of the game. Our defense really, really played well. Really, really showed up. We got pressure on the quarterback all night. We had 6 sacks. On offense, I think that we're going to be a primarily like a run first team. It looks like this year, and make teams load the box on us, and then we'll start picking them apart from there. And we were kind of run first last year. I think we were like 51-49 was the run percentage to pass. I think it was pretty close last year, but um, our just the running back tandem that we have looked fantastic. All three of them got in the end zone. The environment was great. It was just a great night to be in Neyland. I enjoyed every single second of it.
It was a good night. Definitely not the loudest I've heard Neelan, but it was close. It was close. It was almost there. Um,
Yeah.
I did have a couple of buddies. It was their first time ever going to a Vols game, and they weren't Vols fans prior to it. And I was lucky enough to see them before the game and let them know that they're about to be Vols fans because of what they're going to experience that night. And I'm just glad to be a part of a fan base that gets that hype about games, that has an electric environment like we do. It's something that us as Tennessee fans, I feel like we do take for granted. I mean, there's not many places like Neyland. You compare that to NFL teams, um, basketball teams, all college football. You compare it to around the world, maybe excluding like soccer out in Europe, but like there's not many environments that compare to Neyland. And they texted me after and they said, you know what, I'm a Vols fan now. And that'll do it to you. It'll do it to you for sure. Um, but yeah, it was a good team win. Everybody played really well. Defense played tremendous. You couldn't ask much more of the defense. And then everything, even our special teams, our kicker played well. D almost got one on the return. Hey, you can't ask for a better game. But that will take us into our segment here, the Little Debbie sponsored player of the game. I'll let Sloop go first here. Sloop, who is your player of the game?
My player of the game, for one reason only, and one play only. Kamal Hadden with a banger pick six.
Big play, very big
I
play.
mean, huge. That's the loudest I've heard Neyland Stadium over the TV.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it popped on the TV, and he got in there and did the old Dion shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just that play made me so happy to see Spencer Rattler get picked off, and for our secondary to have gotten torched like they did last year, and then to make that play and play the way that they did, and him especially with the season he's having, just that one play for me just made me feel like he should be our player of the game.
Nice. Well,
My player. Sorry.
hey, look, Kamal Hadden had a great game even without the interception. He played great defense all night. He was tasked with running around with Leggett, and Leggett
Who
didn't have
cares?
too good of a game, and we'll get into that later. But mine and Christian's player of the game, we went with the same guy here. It was a guy, whenever he came on the field, he made a huge difference in what was going on, and that was James Pierce. That actually started out that pick six with a quarterback pressure. He grabbed the left shoulder of Spencer Rattler as he was going to throw, and really obstructed that throw a little bit. But he had, Christian, what was it, 2 sacks and 9 total QB pressures? I mean, it was something insane. The man was everywhere.
I think it was something like that. It was either 2 or 3 sacks on the night with um, 6 to 9 quarterback pressures. I mean, the guy was back in the backfield the whole entire time. He was a force to be reckoned with, and I hope that he continues to play that well throughout the rest of the year. We're definitely going to need him.
Yeah, he's an impressive player because you look at him, he doesn't look like a defensive end type player at all. He's kind of smaller, but to see what he was doing against some of those South Carolina offensive linemen was very impressive. I mean, he was straight up just bull rushing them at some points, and that he was
He-
getting outweighed by 100 pounds.
yeah, he's strong and he's fast. I mean, he comes off the edge sometimes, dips that shoulder, and he's there. I
Yeah,
mean, he the ball quick.
yeah. He's a fun player to watch, that is for sure. While we're talking about players, let's change the tone a little bit here. Did have a very unfortunate injury on Saturday night. The man, Brew McCoy, probably our best receiver and perimeter blocker, is going to be out for the season with a dislocated ankle That's right, dislocated ankle, right, guys? No,
It's dislocated and fractured, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
I just want to make sure I get that right. But yeah, it was a bad injury. They showed it up on the scoreboard there in Neyland, and it did not look good. I mean, it's bad every time whenever you see the opposing team's players start freaking out whenever they see it happen. But yeah, that's going to be a big loss for us. Sleep, I'll let you go ahead and say your piece on Brew right here.
Absolutely hate that for a kid that out of California came in last year. Um, Probably made one of the biggest, probably the second biggest play of the season last year with the catch he made versus Alabama. I mean, I don't know a lot about him outside of I feel like he plays really hard. I love watching him, go up and get the ball versus some of these corners that are the same size as him because he's a big kid. Um, I hate it for anybody that gets hurt out there on a football field, especially when they're a Tennessee Vol. Um, you seen his mom and dad were there for the game. They made it out this past weekend, and you just hate for any of that to happen to anybody. But I mean, especially him. Huge loss for us the rest of the season. Takes away our number one receiver. We got to have some guys step up now. Hopefully, Dante Thornton can get healthy, get that hammy going because it's been hurt since preseason. Ramel Keaton gotta have to get more out of him. Squirrel White, we're getting a lot out of him, but we're gonna get more. I was looking at it Saturday when he got hurt. I mean, you're down to really three wide receivers. You've got a couple guys that are just gonna have to step up and do some things that we're gonna need to be able to be good the rest of the year. Prayers up for Brew though.
Yeah, prayers there for Brew. He'll be all right. He'll bounce back. He's a tough guy. Um, I mean, hopefully he comes back in Tennessee uniform, but if not, whatever he sees fit, he'll be great at. Christian, what did you think about it?
I just hate it for him, just like Sleep said. I hate it for him. I hate it for the team. I'm pretty sure he's a big leader inside the locker room. He's a go-to guy in the locker room, and I'm sure he'll still be that. I'm sure he'll still be around. I'm sure he'll still be that. But you just hate to see anybody have that bad of an injury. I mean, I'm like you said. I hope he comes back. I think that he's one of the seniors, and that's got like the COVID year. They're the last one with the COVID year. I'm pretty sure he's got that with him as well. So I think he can come back.
Yeah.
So I would like to see him come back, and hopefully he gets all the help and everything that he needs throughout all this time. Because I know, like on the other side of it, the middle side of everything, whenever you work that hard for something, to then have it taken away from you, it's got to be tough.
Yeah, yeah, that's a tough one. Um, I mean, he'll be involved for life no matter what he chooses to do next year. I will give one quick shout out throughout the whole situation. The athletic trainers, everybody did their part with Brew. I mean, it was kind of crazy to watch how efficient that was. Um, Within maybe 30 seconds of him going down with that injury, they had like a cast put on there, and the cart was already out. I mean, in plenty of the time. Um, and shout out to the UT, I guess, training staff, and then like grounds crew for that because they were on top of it. And had it been like a serious head neck injury like something like Damar Hamlin last year, I mean they would have been very well taken care of. So um, shout out to everybody working, doing their job and doing it very very efficiently. With that, let's go on to the defensive play last night. We got to highlight the defense because they absolutely showed up and showed out. They kept the crowd in it all night long. It was very pleasing to see defense play like that in Neyland Stadium. Um, Here's a couple of quick stats. Looks like South Carolina had 11 first downs all night. Um, Spencer Rattler was 25 of 36 with only 169 yards, zero touchdowns passing, and then one interception. And then his biggest target, the receiver that was leading all college wide receivers in yards per game and yards for the season, only had 5 catches for 50 yards against us. And then 32 of those yards came on a fake punt. So you got to think he really went four catches for 18 yards all night. And that was your boy Sloop. That was your boy Haddon who was guarding him a lot of the night. I mean, it was just our defense showed up. Almost every single position played lights out on the defense. I was very proud to be a Tennessee Vol watching that one. Christian, what did you think of it?
Man, our defense just all the way around. Like I said a little bit earlier, they were 2 of 15 on third down, 2 of 5 on fourth, and one of those was on a fake punt. They only had 330 yards, 333 total yards for the night, and 75 of those came on one play. And whenever we lost gap integrity up front, and just but they busted a run on us. So 75 came on that play, and 32 came on a fake punt. You take both those plays away, they're at 220 the night. So is it's a big thing, like it's nice to be able to get that a win in that situation, and it's nice to be able to kind of shut Rattler up a little bit. Definitely after I watched him count up how many touchdowns he threw against us last year. Now
How many
we got
times you
how
been
many sacks
spat? How many times you been sacked?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that was
it was
funny.
nice to kind of shut him up, and it's good to see some of those young guys, man. Like Arian Carter was out there, made a couple big plays. I remember on the screenplay that he absolutely blew up.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a true freshman, and he's out there flying around to the ball. And we definitely need him.
Yeah. Yeah, almost all of our DBs played lights out too. I mean, I was very impressed. I haven't seen defensive backs play like that for Tennessee maybe my whole life, honestly. I mean, it's been a while. I can't think of a team where we've just had lights out DBs. I mean, we had Eric Berry in the crew, but that was the Eric Berry show. Sloop, what'd you think about the defense?
D-line was crazy. I mean, took advantage of not healthy, but also not very good offensive line in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Did a great job of swarming to the ball when it was out in space. Did a great job of making some open field tackles. Corners played great. We talk about the fake punt earlier. That's a special teams mishap. But if Hyper would have been listening to the pod last week, he would have known Shane Beamer attempts the most in the SEC. Credit to Tim Tom. I mean, all in all, a great defensive game versus a banged up USC junior team. I mean, I think that if they have juice and if they've got those two offensive linemen they were missing, maybe they're a little better. I still don't think they're better than us, but
No.
the defense just was on point the whole night. Our crowd backed them up, and they gave the crowd to keep a reason to keep cheering the whole night. I mean, all in all, a great game by them, and shout out defensive coordinator for doing that too.
Yeah. Tim Banks actually had a great game plan going into this game, and he caught a lot of heat after the Florida game. So we definitely want to give our credits to Tim Banks and the crew for being ready, being prepared and getting after it. Now we'll kind of transition into our running back room. They had another impressive night. I feel like we talk about this every week. I mean, the running backs are phenomenal on our team. I don't know how they're going to end up doing once they leave Tennessee, but this could be. Just watching all three of them. I mean, they're magnificent to watch. They hit the holes hard. Every one of them could take it to the house when they want to. All of them get 3 yards of play. I swear, every time we give them the ball, I mean, we're getting 3 yards. There's some stats for that. We got Jalen Wright had 123 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Jabari Small, 59 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Dylan Sampson, 49 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. He also had quite a few receiving yards. I don't have that handy with me right now, but all these guys came to play, and they make a difference every time they get the ball. It's exciting to watch for sure.
Yeah, you got three backs, man, and they all do something a little different, you know, and all three of them are just very good at what they do. Very good. Um, they've just, I think, all three of them have gotten so much better from last year too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that we're as good up front as what we were last year, but I feel like in the backfield we're better than what we were last year. And how, I mean, it's a great problem to have whenever you've got three guys that you can put in there, and you know that they're probably going to find a way to be successful. So, I mean, it's definitely the best running back room that we've had since Hurd Kamara, and that's that's a big nod there.
That is a big nod. Sleep, what do you think about the running backs?
I think that Heupel was listening to the pod last week. I think he might have missed the part about your punt, but we got Sampson in space. I think that getting him in some space was crucial to our offensive game plan. I think those other two guys just hitting the holes as hard as they did opened up our passing game as much as it did because, I mean, if you really think about it, we got everything that we wanted all night long on the offensive end. I mean, yeah, we might have forced a couple of things, but, I feel like our run game all year, not just this past game, has really opened up a lot of holes for us, on multiple occasions for different things. I think that, Heupel said in the post game that the run game has got to be effective for our passing game to be effective. I mean, that we rely on team stacking the box for us to be able to get one-on-ones out on the outside. So, um, being consistent is what they've done all year long. Keep giving them the ball. I just keep giving them the ball. We got a tough SEC schedule coming up, and those three guys are going to be important to our success.
Yeah. Yeah, that I don't know about you guys, but I love that shovel pass play to Sampson. I mean, just getting him in a situation where he's one on one with a linebacker, I will take that every single play. As long as we block it correctly, of course. Um, but right now, everybody that's listening to the pod, make sure you're liking the YouTube video, dropping a subscribe on it. We're working really hard on the pod. We're trying to get the best quality for y'all, putting out weekly episodes, all that. So just make sure you go drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe, and then we'll transition right into our other point here, Joe Milton. Let's talk about Joe Milton a little bit, boys. Joe Milton, he didn't have the most impressive stat line, but he got it done this Saturday night. 21 of 32 for 1 touchdown and then 2 picks. So we saw something a little uncharacteristic of Joe Milton this Saturday, and he threw 2 interceptions. He's been really good about not turning the ball over in his stint here at Tennessee. I'm pretty sure that was his third career interception for us. So, or 2 and 3, second and third interception for us. So he kind of turned the ball over a little bit, but he also did some things that I liked that I hadn't saw him do in other games. He got a little mobile. He scrambled whenever he needed to, and he looked pretty good doing it. Christian, what do you think about him? I know you had that Joe Milton shirt on for the good voodoo.
Yeah, Joe Cool. Hey, I'm not the
Joe,
biggest
cool.
Joe fan. I'm not the biggest Joe fan, but I told you guys the other night, hey, if I'm expecting them to give my all or give their all for Tennessee, I've got to give my all too. So I'm going to wear the old shirt. Um, but no, man, I think that statistically he didn't look great. Like it doesn't look fantastic, but I think that overall, I mean, he had a pretty decent game. I mean, we talked a little bit about it earlier, before we got on here. Joe is Joe is Joe, and unfortunately, he kind of gets an unfair rap, and I think that I give him one too because he's not Hendon Hooker. I mean, Hooker was like one of those quarterbacks that you only get so often. And, I think Joe's a good quarterback. I don't think he's great by any means, but I think he's good. I think that he's going to be able to win us some games this year. I think that he's going to be able to, take us, to take us as far. The team will go as far as what he can take us. And I'm excited for it because, I mean, the one thing that I did like is I definitely thought that he played more aggressive. I thought that he was
Yeah.
a lot less timid, and I thought that he played more aggressive. And I think that, sometimes on these interceptions and stuff that he hasn't thrown, it's because he's not tried to fit it. He's not thrown that 50-50 ball that he threw a pick on. He's not thrown, some of these passes that he needs to be throwing. And, that 50-50 ball, he just throws it a little bit farther, 2-3 yards farther, it's a touchdown. And, he'll get better at that. I really believe that. I'm just happy that he's making the correct reads and throwing the ball. The other interception that he threw, he was actually, I think he was throwing that pass to Brew. He read it as a cover two, and that third safety just stepped right in the middle, and he never saw him. He threw it right to him.
Yeah.
So I mean, he just kind of got mixed up on his looks, but overall, like I was very pleased with his play. He played well enough for us to win.
Yeah, going back to that first interception that set up their first touchdown, that might be the first time I've seen Joe Milton just make the wrong read like that.
Yeah,
I mean that's hats off to him for being that consistent on getting the ball to the right guy. But that's the first I mean just bad throw like what are you doing that I've seen him do. The Florida game he was just trying to do too much on that interception. But as far as just making the wrong read and that costing us, that's the first time. And I mean he's pretty much played. We'll call it a full year and a few games now. So that's tippable out of Joe Milton. Sleep, what'd you think about him on Saturday?
I think that was not a great Joe game. I think that it was a Joe game that wasn't average because we still won. I thought he used his legs great. Thought his decision making, like you said, was a little bad at times. But I mean, I'm on that train of this is the most amount of snaps he's seen consistently in a long time. So, everybody likes to talk about the picks and everything like that. But I mean, it just the more snaps you take, the more balls you throw, the higher your chances are of throwing a pick, the higher your chances are of making a bad decision. I mean, I love Joe Milton. I love any guy that's been our quarterback. I will always support them. So I mean, I'm just glad he was able to get the job done and everything. I I was excited to see him use his feet more when he needed to, and some of the balls that he gets put in the place to throw deep. I think that he can underthrow, overthrow as much as he wants. I don't know. They talked in the game about him having happy feet and he does a little dance move, stuff like this. And I don't know. I'm not a QB guru. I think that, he's a great college quarterback for a program like us. He's just so weird sometimes to sit back and watch because I don't know. He's so athletic. He could be so good, but he's so average at times. And it's just weird. I support him the
All right, we're back. Had a little technical difficulty. Sleepy got up to go get a little Debbie, knocked over his router, fried his Wi-Fi, but he's back on his cell phone now. He's got service, so we're all good. We're all good. We got it rolling back. Sloop, we ended off with your Joe Milton thoughts right there. Um, Joe Milton can be the best player in the world if he wants. If he, how should I say this? Joe Milton has all the capabilities to be the best player in the world. It's just him putting it together. Um, he could definitely be one of those like Anthony Richardson though guys that He was mediocre in college, but once he gets to the NFL, I mean, he's got it all to do it all. So that'll actually bring us into our next segment here. We're going to talk about the bye week, the perfect time if you're a female who is just needing to get a wedding on in the fall. This is the perfect time to schedule a wedding. This is the 1 week. The 1 week you can get Vol fans out and do your wedding, because otherwise it ain't happening. I'm sorry. We got Texas A&M on the 14th. I can't miss that for a wedding. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're my best friend. I don't care if I'm in the wedding. I'm probably not showing up if it's a big game that week. Christian, what do you think about that? I mean, this is the week. So if you didn't do it this week, it's over.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I skipped one Saturday night to go to the game.
There we go.
So me and weddings. I mean, I skipped one of my good friends' wedding last year for Alabama. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen for me. This is sacred down here in the South. You do not plan weddings on a college football Saturday, and it's just something that can't happen. You got to be better. Hey, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Hey, I'm happy that you're celebrating your love and whatever else, or your funeral, whatever you want to consider it. But, just let's do it in the spring. Let's do it in the winter.
Yeah.
Let's even try the winter,
I'll go outside for a winter wedding as long as it's not during football season.
Yeah, I mean, but now you get the summer, and if you can invite me out middle of July too, and it's an outside wedding, I'll come. But
can't stay
I might
for
complain.
Long.
Yeah. Hey, let me throw a little something different in here that I meant to talk about for a second. So this past week, if you guys could see that, it's the Volunteer Club. They got memberships online that you can go to, and I actually bought one this past week. Went to the tailgate this past week with them. Free food, free drinks. There's a $25 membership to be able to go to something like that each month. It was well worth every single penny. A lot of the proceeds go back actually into NIL for the players. And awesome. I even got to meet Christian Moore. So met Christian Moore, the baseball player that played at Tennessee. You get to see a lot of the athletes. The athletes come to it. So you got Sideboard Games was there this weekend. Christian Moore was there. There's a bunch of the basketball players roaming around through there. They do these. They're going to do these 4 basketball games, I believe, as well.
Nice.
And I think they even do them, while they're on away games. So if you guys get a chance, definitely look into the Volunteer Club. We can tag that link in the bio below here.
Description.
But it was the description below here, and it was well worth it, man. It was well worth the $25.
Yeah, whenever I stopped by and said hi to you, it definitely looked like one of the places to be. It's located right there beside the Vol Village. I'm pretty sure you can buy those subscriptions the day of. Do you know what you can't do, Sloop?
You can't get married in the fall on a Saturday. And I'm going to tell you right now, ladies, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you think, oh, it's a bye week. I'm going to go ahead and get married then. I don't care. I don't care if it's a bye week. I don't care if you're like, oh, well, we play UTSA or we play Austin P. I don't care. I'm going to tell you right now, you're selfish. You're selfish. You're selfish for wanting to get married in the fall. And there's only one thing that happens to people that get married in the fall on a Saturday. They get divorced. That's just point blank how it is. I got a good friend. I was the best man at his wedding during a Tennessee-Georgia game. I regret going to that. You know why? Because that wedding, that marriage is now tarnished because they got married on a Saturday in the fall. Point blank, guys, that's just how it is. If you are getting with a girl that even considers in her mind thinking, I want to have a fall wedding. I want to have it at 3:30.
Oh God.
I'm going to tell you right now, don't do it. Leave her. right now. I tell you right now, my wife, she asked me, Luke, when do you want to get married? I got married during a pandemic when there was no sports going on, or I wouldn't have gotten married, period. People said, oh, you're so selfish for wanting to have a wedding with a pandemic going. No, I wasn't. I was trying to take care of every man there and getting married during there was no sports going on. If I'm going to tell you right now, there's 2 rules. Don't get married in the fall on a Saturday. The second, you got to have barbecue at your wedding. I don't care what happens. Those are the point blank rules. If you can't live by those 2 rules during wedding season, I'm sorry about it. You're getting divorced. You're bound for
it. Oh my goodness. Now, hey, let's throw out a hypothetical here. What if now, a wedding at a tailgate?
No. I don't, because no. what you're saying is, and a lot of people think they can get away with that. They're like, well, we'll have the game on. No, but we'll have a TV. Guys, listen, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 TVs in my house. I have 4 TVs in my house. I guarantee you right now that anytime you walk in my house on a Saturday, I'm going to have that TV, that TV, that TV, and that TV on a different game, because I'm a dedicated Southern college football watcher. I love it.
Preach, brother.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have, and I can't. You've got me fired up now because I'm sitting here thinking about going to a wedding on a Saturday when there's going to be some bullshit 12 o'clock game on, some primetime Kentucky Florida game on, and I'm sitting here trying to gamble on a Saturday. But no, I've got to sit here and watch Mr. and Mrs. Joe Blow up here do a freaking I do and say their vows and stuff, and I don't give a shit. I don't care. I really don't. If you get married in the fall, you're bound for divorce. That's all I got to say. And then the thing that irritates me the most is when they say it's on the bye week or they'll have the TV there. I don't care. There's not a single person there coming to your wedding that's like, man, I really wish I was at that wedding today.
Watching the game. I can't wait to watch the game at that wedding.
I can't wait to watch that game with all these kids running around and not have all this food that I could have because you decided you wanted to have tilapia on your wedding night. I don't care. Nobody heed my advice. Don't get married in the fall on a Saturday. Guys, if you want to do it on a Tuesday night, I don't care. Tuesday and Wednesday in the fall are great.
We can do that.
You can do that. Monday night, don't do it on a Monday night. You can do it Monday, 1 o'clock. Don't do it on a Monday night. I got Monday Night Football on right now. Right. Don't do it on a Friday. You got high school football. Don't do it on Thursday night. You got Thursday night football. Sunday, absolutely not. That's the Lord's Day. Okay?
Exactly.
From about 11 to 12:30, that's the Lord's time. 12:30 to 1, I'm going to eat before NFL starts. 1 to about 10:30 that night, it ain't happening. Don't get married in the fall. Just telling you.
Oh, my God.
That segment has been brought to you by Wedding Counseling by Sloop.
Yeah. That sounded like the good Lord's word right there. I mean, you take that as the truth.
I have set up, I'm telling you right now, there is some poor soul that's going to get married this Saturday. He's going to be sitting there and he's going to have to watch the game on his phone, whether he's a Texas fan or Oklahoma fan. Hell, if he's a Tennessee fan, he's going to be sitting there thinking, I want to watch Georgia and Kentucky this weekend and be like, I wonder how that game's going to go. But he's not going to be able to do it because his wife said, I want to get married on a Saturday in the fall. Man, I hate this for you, but not only are you getting married on the Saturday in the fall, you're going to have the little kid's birthday on the Saturday in the fall. You're going to be going to some pumpkin patch one of these days. You're going to be doing all these things on a Saturday in the fall. You're just setting yourself up for failure for the rest of your life.
I mean, that's cold, hard facts right there. Well, boys, it is a bye week, so let's give our thoughts on the team. Maybe talk about a couple big games that's going on in the SEC this weekend. Sleep mentioned the Kentucky-Georgia game, right? Kentucky-Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. We also got Missouri versus LSU, I believe. Also going to be a pretty fire game. Might be the reason why we slid down in the AP poll a little bit. They're trying to juice a couple of these matchups here. But yeah,
I think Texas A&M Alabama this week, so we get to see our next 2 opponents
Oh,
Next two opponents play each other. I think that's 3:30 CBS game this week.
Jimbo.
So
Jimbo. Well, fellas, I'll go. I'll start with my thoughts on the team. We'll start off with that. Thoughts on the team? Great win, great environment. They look like they put it all together. I believe that we are a good team this year. I believe we are a good team this year. I believe that we are a great team this year, Sloop. That's all I got to say about it. I think we're going to get it done. I think we're going to go on a big roll after this bye season and, shut some people up that were having the doubts after the Florida loss.
I think that we got to take advantage of this bye week. Have a great time at Disney World. Make sure that we enjoy all the weddings that we can this weekend because it's just a bye week for some godforsaken reason that makes it any better. We got to get healthy. Dante Thornton's got to get over this hammy thing. Hammies are just something that they can linger, but we got our training staff's got to do a great job doctoring him up this week and next week leading up to the game. I hope that all our guys are tuned in to the Texas A&M game versus Alabama because that's like Chris said, that's two opponents we got coming up. I do think that the rest of our schedule, the toughest game on our schedule is Alabama at Alabama. I mean, right now I feel invincible when we play at home. So we play Texas A&M at home. We play Georgia at home. We're on the road versus South Carolina, or not South Carolina. We're on the road versus Alabama. We're on the road versus
Kentucky.
Missouri, and we're on the road versus Kentucky. I mean, that's three big games, but Missouri's, whatever their head coach's name is, he's an idiot. Kentucky, we kind of own them after they get whooped up on versus Georgia. Alabama, we really own them right now. Both my sons only live in a world where we own Alabama. They've never experienced a loss to them. So I don't even know who Nick Saban is anymore. We've got to get healthy. We've got to take this one game at a time from this week on because this is your only week that you've got to really take a step back, take a breath, and lock in for the rest of this long season that you've got ahead.
Yeah. Christian, what's your thoughts?
I'm happy with where we're at. I would like to have been 5-0 going into this bye week, but at 4-1, I'm still content with that. You take one on the chin at Florida, didn't play good that night, didn't look good that night. It's kind of was all out of sync with playing on the road down there. Just didn't look good. But be 4-1, be 1-1 in the SEC. You still coming into a bye week, where you can kind of regroup and get some players healthy, get back kind of rested up. Everything is right out in front of us still. So that's a positive to look at. And I'm excited for the next 2 weeks because the next 2 weeks are big ones. And whenever you're in the SEC and whenever you're playing these games, it's pretty much week after week. You're going to figure out what kind of team that you are and what you're made of. And the next two are Texas A&M at home and Alabama on the road. So these next two will be good. I'm excited for it. I think that they are both winnable and attainable games. Alabama's offensive line up front struggling pretty bad right now. Their quarterback can't really throw the ball, and they're pretty one-dimensional. And if our defense plays the way that they did the other night, I definitely think that we can go down to Alabama and win on the road. I think that with A&M coming to our place, that's always a huge advantage. It's a 3:30 kickoff, CBS, in 2 weeks, and I'm excited for it. I'm ready for the Vols to really see what they got. Hopefully they can get right back in, go to work.
Yeah.
Let me jump in on this. And this is just how I've looked at it and how I feel. We took that early loss to Florida. Does it not kind of feel like for us to be successful? I mean, guys, I'm an all in or all out guy. A successful season for me somebody can be like, oh, 9 wins, 10 wins. Guys, I want to be in the college football playoff at the end of the year. Do I think that's attainable? I do. I mean, the way our schedule plays out, you've got to win. You've got to win out. That's what I think. That's what I'm asking is, do you feel like with that early loss to Florida, we have to win out now?
To make it to the playoff?
Yes.
100%. We will. I will say this: if we do win out, we will have the wins on our schedule to get us there. I believe, even with
So
the loss to Florida.
You don't think that we could be a 2-loss SEC championship team that still makes the playoff?
I think the Pac-12 is too good that this year that they will probably be the conference as two. And I'm not going to try to sit here and knock the Pac-12. I don't know if they necessarily deserve to have the two teams in it, but as of right now, it's kind of looking like it's going to lean that way.
I think that the Big Ten's got a really good chance of getting 2 in as well
Yeah,
because
I
you've
mean
got
we got a lot of conferences that got some good teams in it.
I mean, it's still early right now for
Yeah.
anybody to be. I mean, the only for sure teams that I'm sitting here saying like, okay, yeah, they're probably going to get in if it happened tomorrow would be, I would sit here and say, USC, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan. I mean, that would be my 4 right now, and that's a solid 4.
Texas. I mean, you got Texas that's undefeated with a win
See,
against
that's what I'm
Alabama.
saying. But it's so early.
Yeah,
I mean,
Florida
FSU. Yeah, FSU, Oregon. I mean, it is early. It's early. It's kind of early to start talking about this, but at the same time, it's not. When you're looking at what it'll take for us to get in, we're definitely going to need some help. We're going to have to get a couple conferences to beat up on each other a little bit. Because the SEC, I mean, we can usually count on the SEC winning our games against other conferences and that helping us out. And this year, it just didn't play out like that early in the season, at least.
SEC's looking a little weak right now. Would y'all agree with that?
I
think
would
that
say here's what I think about it. I think yes, the gap is getting narrower. Like the gap between the SEC and the other conferences is narrower. I still think the SEC is the best conference. However, I think the SEC West is down. I think the East is starting. I think we're trying to, not trying. I think we're seeing kind of more so a little transition in the SEC power rankings. Like Missouri, yeah, they got a top 15 win this year. They're undefeated. We got Georgia, who's undefeated, who's played cupcakes all year. So who really knows how they are?
do you think that
Kentucky's.
do you think the SEC has the best team in the nation right now?
That's tough. I don't know because I see like with Ohio State and Michigan, I don't think either of those teams beat Georgia, but I do see a world where like USC, maybe Oregon, and Texas could beat Georgia.
What about Washington?
I think Washington's going to get beat by Oregon and USC. I don't know if Washington plays USC, but they do. I definitely think they get. I think like USC and Oregon's on a tier, and then Washington's the tier right below them. But Washington has the capability of beating both because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the nation.
What do you think, Christian? You think SEC holds the best team?
I don't know. I mean, one of the biggest reasons of why you're seeing that the Pac-12 or whatever it is, Big 12, Pac-12, like Texas. I mean, you go through, you look at Texas, Florida State, Oregon, Washington, USC, if I've not said them, and Michigan. You take those 6 teams right there. Those 6 teams alone all have returning quarterbacks. And so they've got guys. One of them won the Heisman last year at USC. Bo Nix is like a 5th-year guy. Michael Penix is like a 5th-year guy. And you just keep going through those teams right there. And to win the big one like that, you've got to have that. You got to have that quarterback that can go and do it. And they've definitely got the best quarterbacks in the country out there on that side right now. And so while I think that Georgia probably all the way around defensively and, like a complete team is probably better than some of those teams out there, I don't know if those quarterbacks couldn't will them to find a way to win because of the experience and what they have, like just the amount of games and the reps that they have played. So I mean, you look at Stetson Bennett last year. Stetson Bennett wasn't the greatest quarterback in the world, but man, the guy he just won. Like he had played a lot of snaps, he played a lot of football, and by the end of the year, man, he was one of the better quarterbacks out there every single game.
Yeah.
I mean, he had some great players around him, but getting those valuable snaps, getting all that time is very, very, very important. And I mean, I think that Joe Milton, I think that's something with him. I think over the course of the year, we're going to see him get better and better and better and better as he gets more and more and more live game reps.
Yeah.
So, like out there, the teams that are at the top right now that you're looking at, the biggest thing that they have is a returning quarterback that's been in the system.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at where we took our big jump from year 1 to year 2 with Heupel. We had a returning quarterback who had been in the system.
So are you saying that Carson Beck is trash?
I'm not
I'm gonna put
saying
you
that
on the record.
he's trash. I've not got to watch them enough to know. But I would say that he is not that great right now. He's not experienced enough to be able to play, high level football. I mean, they almost got beat by Auburn, and Auburn is he's a first year coach down there at Auburn. I mean, so
Hugh Freeze would love to have a Hendon Hooker at quarterback.
oh yeah.
Not just because of his name, but just because of the athleticism that he would bring to that team. And they would have beaten Georgia with better QB play. I mean, there's not very many teams in this nation. There's not very many teams in college football in the past 10 years that run a dual QB system, and they run a dual QB system. I mean, that's when you know they're in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Carson Beck. He is trash. I'm going to go ahead and say that. That's just point blank how it is.
I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I think that he's a
dumpster fire.
He's a decent quarterback. He's definitely he's the crutch on that team right now. Like he's the one that's got to get better for them to be a national champion again this year. And then with me saying that, he's definitely going to the Vols Georgia matchup. He's definitely a beatable quarterback. But what he has in his corner is arguably one of the best players in the nation. They're tied in. Brent Bowers. I mean, he's Brock Bowers, whatever. Same thing. The guy's ridiculous, though. Anytime they need a play, anytime they need a first down, they give him the ball and he gets it.
Well, let's just see what happens when Kamal Haddon's on him in November. It's just point blank how it is.
I really hope we don't put Kamal Haddon on him.
I do. I want to see that dumpster fire. I want to see that dumpster fire try to throw to him.
I don't know.
I just really hope we don't have to watch that. But hey,
Carson Beck's the type of guy that would get married on a Saturday in the fall.
Oh my god.
Hey, I'll be honest with you though. By the time that Georgia rolls up here to play us, I think it's like early November or whatever it may be. That he'll probably be playing a lot better football.
Yeah,
because that's just kind of how it works. Like you get those more game reps, more experience, and it'll just click at some point.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it right now. I'm just gonna say it. Kentucky's going to beat them this weekend.
God,
Stoops is gonna get the job done, and he's gonna expose them, and he's gonna make that dumpster fire, try and put the ball in the air a little bit more, not the Brock Bowers, or I'm sorry, Brent Bowers, whatever Tyler called him.
Brent Bowers. Look, I'm sorry. Look, I don't care. I don't like Georgia. I'm not gonna get their names right.
Don't disrespect the greatest tight end of all time. I mean, that's what people are dubbing him as, the greatest tight end of all time.
He's not the greatest tight end of all time, but dude, it is impressive watching him play.
Yeah, he's not Jason Witten, but
Sure. Well, fellas, I think that'll do it for us and on the pod today. We definitely Rocky Top rambled a little bit, especially whenever it came to weddings in the fall. I think the biggest thing going forward with the Vols is, hey, they can do it at home, but can they do it on the road? Luckily, they got some time to tune up the engines before they go on the road. See what I did there, Sleep? Did you like that?
I guess I didn't really see what you did.
Tune up the engines before they get on the road.
Oh, okay. I get it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Make sure everybody's liking, subscribing to the pod. Go check out the Vol Club that Christian promoted. And make sure we're liking the Facebook page. We got some cool stuff coming, so I hope y'all are ready. Peace and love. Bye. Because I need little kisses.
Hey,